This video serves as my first in an introduction to statistics, which are highly important when you go on in your science career. The three main things we're going to talk about today are mean, median, and mode, using this list as our sample. First, the mean is the average. Another way it's usually written is X with a little line over it. This is a standard symbol for average. The average of a list is simply defined as the sum of all numbers in the list divided by the number of numbers in the list. So in this case, we're going to add up all of these, 1 plus 3 plus 6 and so on, and you're going to get 98. There's also 11 numbers in this list, so I'm going to divide by 11. And I'm getting an answer of 8.9. This type of math is used all the time to calculate everything from batting averages to grade point averages. Right? Typically here, this is going to be your score on all quizzes and tests, added up, divided by the number of quizzes and tests, and that's going to tell you what your average is. The median, on the other hand, is slightly different. The median is the actual middle number in the list. This is different from the mean because this number has to be part of the list if the list is odd. If the list is even, then the median is going to be the average of the middle two numbers. But let's take a look at this list. This list has 11 numbers in it, which is an odd number, so there will be a median. Let's take a look. Start at both ends, and we're going to count our way inwards. Go in one place, go in two, go in three, go in four, and then both we're going to wind up at 9. So in this case, the median is 9. Now, finally, there's mode. I think a lot of people tend to believe that the mode is a useless metric, but it really isn't, because what the mode can tell you is whether or not there's a certain number in your data set that is more likely to appear than other numbers. The mode is usually defined as the most oftenly occurring number. So in this case, we got to take a look. There's 1, 1, there's 1, 3, there's 2 6s, there's 1, 8, there's 1, 9, 3 12s, 1, 14, and 1, 15. So the most oftenly occurring number in this data set is 12. So now hopefully we can understand how to calculate all of these and to figure them out. I also want to go over some implications though, and we're going to use this list. So let's remember that my average is 8.9, my median is 9, and my mode is 12. Now there are a couple situations that can happen that you're going to have to think about when you encounter them in real life. What if the mean is greater than the median? That didn't happen in our list, but what if it did happen? What would that mean? What that would mean is that there are high values in the data set that are higher then the lower values are low. So they are going to pull the mean up above that middle number. If, on the other hand, the mean was less than the median, as it is very slightly here, that means that these lower numbers are lower on average than these higher numbers are high. Right? This tells you something about the data. Okay, Well, what if the mean was less than the mode? And that did happen here. The mean was 8.9 and the mode was 12. Well, what this tells us is that most people tend to score lower than the mode, but there is some high number that tends to be more common. Okay, so this can happen on tests and quizzes if questions are related to each other, where maybe if you don't get the first question, you're going to get the next 5 wrong. So most people don't do very well, but those people who get all the questions right all have the same score of 100. All right, so that would mean the mean is less than the mode. Now, what happens if you have a different case scenario where the mean is greater than the mode? Well, from an educator's perspective, this is kind of a tough situation because it means you had a couple people who did very well and many who all did equally poorly. All right? So imagine if I had a list of grades, right, where I had a couple people in the 90s and the hundreds, couple high 80s, and then 10 40s in a row. That's telling me something. So these mean, median, and mode all tell you about this data. All right? And hopefully now you know how to calculate them and a little bit of how to interpret what these numbers mean.